This is the BGG Climbers for the week ending 6/23/2021. This is a list put together every week by Michael Alexander, and I'll go through the list and show you what's falling, what's rising, as well as my thoughts on where things are going to end up, and maybe some information on kind of what I'm thinking about the games as I look at them many times for the first time. So let's take a look at this. So one interesting thing is, usually the biggest fallers are games that have kind of peaked and are sunsetting slowly. So Voyages of Marco Polo has peaked and it's starting to drop off the top 100 slowly. The Gallerist is actually it climbed a little bit earlier. I think some Kanban EB got this into more people's hands, but now it's again falling a little bit. I think it's probably not going to rise beyond the 50s anymore. Robinson Crusoe, again, is also falling. This game is just getting a little old, I would say. This one, they did come out with the deluxe edition. I think it'll probably be the same listing on BGG, so that may climb when that gets delivered. Arkham Horror, the card game, is starting to... it's probably peaked at 22, or has even started to fall a little bit. And Great Western Trail. So we saw this one last week in the top climbers. Now it's in the notable fallers. I think when the second edition becomes more prevalent, I actually haven't... maybe it's available already. This may bump back up into the top 10, but it's probably roughly reached its peak, especially with some new games likely coming in the top 10 in the near future. So games we've been watching below the top 10 is Micro Macro Crime City. This game continues to climb. I think it's going to do pretty well, and I think it has a chance of getting the top 100. The ratings have died down a little bit, but it's such a unique game in terms of what it looks like and gameplay. I have a feeling it has a good shot at getting in there. Comet Blood and Sand. I think it's highly likely this is going to end up in the top 100. I think it's going to get a retail release at some point, and that's probably going to propel it up there, especially with some improvements that it had to the gameplay in terms of versus the original Comet. And Sleeping Gods. So this is certainly going to be in the top 100. I think it's probably likely in the top 10. Its rating is staying pretty strong, even at 1,500 ratings. So I think this is going to end up being Ryan Laukatt's top game. And I think that was all the really interesting ones we've been watching. So number 10 is Oath. So this game, you're probably aware of it. It is a very unique asymmetrical game from, I think, Cole Worley, and also in kind of the same style of art as Root, and I would say even to some extent the same style of gameplay as being very asymmetric. But it has, instead of being like an area control game with different powers, well, I guess it's still an area control game, but it's more, I would say, a more different area control game. There's a little bit of tableau building in it and stuff like that. So I think it's doing about where I thought it would, although this week the rating is a little bit lower than some past ones, but we'll see. We'll see what the new ratings show. I know a lot of people are getting their hands on it, and I think it's available in retail now. It is a fairly expensive game even in retail. I think maybe twice the price of Root. So that is Oath, number 10. Number 9 is Meadow. So this game is actually doing pretty well. It's probably doing better than I expected, given how it looks. Although the new ratings are coming down a little bit. Again, we're pretty low in the rating count here, so I do expect this to kind of fall off the top 10 board game climbers here pretty soon. The ratings just are coming down enough consistently where it's not going to show up here. So this is Meadow, number 9. Number 8 is Merchant's Cove. So we've talked about this game a number of times. It's getting a large amount of ratings every week. I think probably Kickstarter backers are finally getting it to the table. I assume there's a retail version of this at some point. And it's getting quite a number of ratings, although, interestingly, last week, I don't think it was on the list, but it got kind of a lower rating than before. Now it's back up to around its average. I don't think this is going to end up in the top 100. I don't think I think it'll probably peak in the top 250 because I think the asymmetric nature will appeal to people, and obviously it was a big Kickstarter, which tends to propel things a little bit higher. So that is number 8, Merchant's Cove. Number 7 is Lawyer Up. So this is a 2-player game, and actually it was not doing, I would say it was not doing super well early on. Probably worse than most Kickstarters. Let's take a look at this. So this game is themed in that essentially 2 attorneys are facing off in some courtroom case, and there could be, murder, racketeering, I assume, any case that you could face off in a courtroom. It is a 2-player only game. Well, I guess you could play it solo. I don't know how you do that, and I think a pretty unique theme. I don't know if I've seen a game where you face off in a courtroom. I'm sure there's there's a board game for everything, but maybe not specifically this theme. One thing is, and this was a game that I think had a really big Kickstarter, and maybe the unique mechanisms on it, maybe the good artwork. I think the cards look really good. Kind of, maybe gives you a feel of being in a court case. They all look like the manila folders, and I just think overall the presentation is pretty good. I haven't played it, so I don't really know how it is. I think I passed up the chance to play it with one of my friends, but I think it'll probably, when it's out in retail, we'll see how this thing does. Maybe it's not heavy enough, or maybe the 2-player aspect of it doesn't work as well as people were hoping in the initial comments. Let's see what the people are saying. 1 playthrough, learn rules, fun strategic game. One thing is with 2-player only games, I feel like they kind of go into 2 camps. Maybe a lighter weight, like I really liked Hanamakoji with my wife, or Seven Wonders Duel with her, and then the really heavy ones. I don't know if there's a huge market for something like this at a middle of the road. I think this looks heavier than a Seven Wonders Duel. So that is Lawyer Up, number 7. I don't think this is going to end up even in the top 500, just based on where it's already at with its average. It's at 331 ratings, and it's at 7.33. I do think we might see this a few more weeks on the list, just because of how big of a Kickstarter it was, if I remember right. So that's number 7, Lawyer Up. Number 8 is Twilight Struggle. So this is the one dueling back and forth with Great Western Trail. Both are really good games. Twilight Struggle, for me, is a game that I don't think I would play the board game of it. I would probably only play the digital version. I think it is a really cool concept. I think to play it well, you obviously have to have a lot of strategy. The computer beats me a lot in this game, at least the times when I played it. And you have to understand how to control areas and how to play the cards, when to play them the right way, what are the good cards, and what cards your opponent might have, because everything factors into it. And I think this is a game that really, it's GMT's highest rated game. It's a really good game. I don't think Imperial Struggle did as well. Maybe the theme didn't relate to people as much. Maybe it was a little bit too heavy. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see this one and Great Western Trail ping pong back and forth until both of them are probably gone, as some of these new games hit the top 10. Or gone out of the top 10. They'll be in the top 100 probably for my lifetime. So that is number 6, Twilight Struggle. Number 5 is Destinies. So this game is very interesting. This is a game from Lucky Duck Games that is kind of a adventure game, my understanding, adventure game that has also got an app component like Crime Stories with the same QR code system, and it is doing really well. I think even it's doing better than I think Crime Stories did at this point. And Crime Stories was pretty well rated by most people. Another interesting thing with this game is how many copies are getting rated. So people are very excited to play this one. So I think we need to give it a couple more weeks to simmer, but I think it's fairly likely this is going to hit the top 100 this year. So that is number 5, Destinies. Number 4 is Dune Imperium. So this game has skyrocketed up the list. This is on my list of games to play. I was a little bit lukewarm on Runes of Arnak. I don't know how I'm going to feel about Dune Imperium, but I've heard it's an amazing game. I think the only negative was the presentation, but that's fixed with the upgrade pack. If you get really into it, you can buy the upgrade pack and play with that. This, again, is a deck-building worker placement game that combines two things people love, deck building and worker placement, into a game that works really well. There's a third one coming out, I think on Kickstarter, that did really well. And it's hard to say which one of these is going to end up being the best. Although Dune Imperium is getting the best reviews overall. So that is number 4, Dune Imperium. Now this is interesting, as Blake said here. What is causing this game to skyrocket on the list? Because, and I don't know if it's this weird glitch here where it had only 68 ratings for a day, but then I think it got corrected. So it went from 445 to 512 ratings in 1 week. Now, I've never even seen Clue Suspect. I've never played Clue Suspect. I guess it's not very expensive. You can buy some copies here. This is a stripped-down version of Clue, and it's basically the question portion of the game with a specific set of cards used as the notepad. So this is kind of interesting. It even has some of the pieces, right? Colonel Mustard, Professor Plum, Miss Scarlet, Miss White. Oh, maybe they re-released it or something. I have no idea why it would get so many ratings all of a sudden on this list. Let's see what the comments say. This person rated it want to buy June 2021. South Korea. I mean, maybe just a new shipment of this stuff came in around the world. Or maybe it's this travel game to play with the family. Maybe people take it. Maybe people are taking trips places, and now they have this travel game to play. I don't know. It's kind of a mystery on why an old game like this is showing up. We're probably not going to ever see this again, considering it's probably never been on this list and has been out for quite a while. So that's number 3, Clue Suspect. Number 2, Shadow Kingdoms of Valeria. So this is interesting. This is a series of games I haven't had a chance to play any of them. I kind of wanted to get one of the earlier games, which I think was a kind of like a Machikoro style game, and try it out. I never did. I have always liked the artwork in this. This one's like a war game almost. Looks kind of like a war game. This is deck, bag, and pool management and worker placement. So maybe like I don't know. Interesting. Let's see what the reviews from or comments are on this. Kickstarter has a bunch of modules. So this was I guess the Kickstarter deliveries are coming in, so people are rating it, and these ones must be before. I played last week, so exciting. Back on Kickstarter. Okay. Received June 8th. Update 24 on schedule. So, I don't know. It's hard to say. I know the Valeria series is well liked. Initial ratings are kind of a little bit lower than the pre-release ratings. But let's keep an eye on this one. We'll see. We'll probably see it, especially if the Kickstarters all came out around or all get delivered around the same time. We'll probably see it on this list for a few weeks somewhere. And this is Imperium Classics. So this is a very interesting game. There's actually 2 Imperium games getting released, Imperium Classics and Imperium Legends. This is a medium heavyweight card game with a fairly low price point from Osprey Games. So Osprey publishes very few games. They published these. They published Cryptid, which I really like the deduction mechanisms in Cryptid. They published, I think, Normandy. Anyway, basically, this game is a standalone game, or you can mix it with the Legendary Imperium. All play the same rule set. All play with the same rule set. One thing I liked about this is I liked how the cards look. I like the artwork. I like the idea of playing a Civilization game with cards that maybe doesn't take as long as Through the Ages. I think there's probably a lot of people out there that really like that. A lot of people like David Turksey as a designer. I don't know, Nigel Buckle. What has he done? Link Games, Celtic Quest. So he hasn't done too much. He's kind of he did Omega Centauri, which got mixed reviews, and Celtic Quest. But he's come out with these new games as a co-designer on Imperium Classics. And I'm interested to see how they do. Like I said, I watched some reviews and I've gotten kind of mixed reviews, maybe that there was too many rules. That's probably why it's getting this heavier of a weight on this, and that the setup and takedown was too long, because you have your own. I guess the fundamental thing is each Civ has their own deck, and then you have a common deck that you pull from. So you got to, or as you do your deck building, you pull from this common deck. So you got to sort everything out at the end of the game. And there was people that didn't like that. Best at 1 to 2. Doesn't look like people like playing it with 4 players, but I do think we're going to see this again because it's a highly anticipated release. It's a fairly low price point. As you can see, it's already, under $40. It'll probably be even lower in the future. And I think that a lot of people are going to like this, or at least want to try this game. And Civ games are always very interesting from, I think, any board gamer standpoint. So, there you have it. That is the list, the Climbers list ending 6/23/2021. If you like this video, please like and please subscribe. Thank you.